Hey, hey, hey. Time for another out of this world story from rSpace. Brother's wife had an affair with me, but he won't believe that I don't know. Everything feels like it's falling apart, and I don't want it to end this way. My older brother and I used to be close as kids, but we had different lives. Both had the same dad, but different moms. My mom was a junkie, so his mom used to let me stay with him often. Around my senior year of high school, I started falling into the same thing as my mom, and that effed up my relationship with him. I was an a-hole back then, and basically took advantage of his and his mom's help. Stole money from them for drugs, made them think I was getting help and needed money for rent. Not proud of what I did, and I absolutely deserved it when they both cut me out of their lives. Was only 21 at the time, and for 3 years I was out of control with my drinking and getting high all the time. It was a really bad period of my life. Second time I OD'd, I started going to rehab. I'm 29, sober for 5 years, got my GED, and working full-time at a recycling plant. Over a year ago, I decided to reach out to my brother. I wanted to show him that I changed my life around, and want to reconnect with him because I know I effed up in the past. My brother was willing to talk and slowly have been keeping touch through Zoom, phone calls, and texts. It's been so great having my brother back in my life. I know he still doesn't fully trust me, and I don't blame him. He's gotten married and has 2 kids, a girl and a boy ages 4 and 2. Still haven't met them because, like I said, I'm working on earning that trust and he doesn't want them to know who I am just yet. Was never even shown a picture of them. That includes his wife or soon-to-be ex-wife. But turns out, she's the effing lying piece of crap I've hooked up with from time to time over the years. Met her years ago when I think I was 23 or 24. We took ecstasy together and hooked up at my buddy's house. We met again at another party 8 months later. From there, we'd hook up every once in a while. But I never had a clue she was married. We went long periods without seeing each other, but I was busy with my job and working my program, so never thought anything of it. We were never anything serious. It was always about having sex and not seeing each other for months. Last time I saw her was close to 7 months ago. He found out last week. When he called me, I had no idea why he was so pissed, and he told me everything. About how he found she had another phone hidden in the house, and he found the text she sent me. Then he'd confronted her wanting to know who the guy was, and she admitted it was me. I don't know how much she told him or if she's trying to throw me under the bus too. She knew all this time since me and him started talking again that I was his brother and never said anything until she was caught. He was half yelling at me, half crying that he couldn't believe I'd do this to him after all the crap he's done for me and that I'm dead to him. No matter how many times I told him I didn't know it was her, he still didn't believe me. Eventually, he hung up on me and all my calls are going to voicemail now. I've texted him 1,000,000 times explaining everything and telling him I'm sorry, but now I'm not getting anything. I can't imagine how much he's hurting right now. I hate that I'm the one who caused this. Now it's like I keep going back and thinking about why it never occurred to me that she probably was married with kids. Is it that I just didn't care to think about it? Would have never slept with a married woman, and now it looks like I've effed up my relationship with him for life. It just hurts to think about it. We were doing so well, building things back up and going back to how we used to be. Now I've hurt him again and I'm scared I'll never be able to see him or my niece or nephew ever. Let's check in with the community for some comments. From a deleted user, I'm sure this isn't the response you want, but you're right that this might irrevocably change your relationship with your brother. And honestly, even if it's not your fault and you didn't know, I think you're just going to have to accept that. I think you should give him some time, at least a couple of weeks, to get over the initial shock of finding out his wife cheated on him. Then reach out to him again and apologize and say you'd like to explain if he'd be open to talking to you. You don't know what his wife has said. Maybe she didn't throw you under the bus and was completely honest about keeping that info from you. Either way, you still effed his wife and he might never get over that. The OP responds, "It's not, but I know it's one that I need to hear. I'm just hoping that with everything, that he can find it in himself in the future to forgive me. I'll give him his space right now since I'm sure it hurts and he's got his kids to think about. It would just hurt too much to lose him again after everything. He's the only family I have and hope we can get to a better place." One more comment before the next story. Definitely Certain says, "If you have the texts or any other evidence of lack of you knowing, prove a negative is hard, then offer that too. She will have lied and lied to your brother and almost certainly tried to sacrifice you to make her look better. But she may have overdone it enough that your brother will see the truth eventually. However, even if he eventually believes you, There may be too much water under the bridge for him to forgive you. Good luck and stay clean. Alright, on to the next story. Not sure if my wife has had an affair with a coworker. My wife of 4 years, who just turned 30, and I, 30, have been at odds lately. We've been in a dead bedroom, topic for another day, for the past few years. Recently, she has accused me of cheating because I didn't text her back immediately one day when I was out with my cousin fishing, which is nothing new. However, this trip came a day or two after she was out for drinks with coworkers for one of the people's last day at her job. She ended up staying somewhere. I'm still honestly not sure, but she said it was a female's house and then ended up getting home around 5 a.m. A couple days later, when I'm out, she berates me and goes on and on about me cheating on her because I'm not answering the phone, etc. She's been nagging me about my location and tracking on my phone, which I've always had off unless needed, personal preference. And then just a few nights ago, she snaps because I missed a call from her while she was driving home. I was on the phone with my dad at the time and was still chatting when she got back. She seems distant, more than usual. There's even less affection than before, and the constant feeling like she's keeping tabs on me is making me feel uneasy. Couple of quick comments from the community. Brian McG321 says, she definitely could be projecting. That's what it sounds like. Ask her what happened that night. Get details. Who was there? Where did she go? What men were there? Did she talk to them? Whose house? Who else was at the house? Etc. Her answers or non-answers will give you your evidence. Check her phone. Don't look for messages with men. They will be deleted. Look up conversations with her friends. Another comment comes from Bensel McPrush. Looks like she's projecting, accusing you of doing what she's done. 4 years in and it's already a dead bedroom? Change in behavior? Cold and distant? Yep. It's time to start deciding if you really want to be celibate for life while she goes out to entertain he's just a friend. Quote and Bubby says, cheaters are accusing others for cheating but not themselves. Trust your gut feelings and get evidence for her cheating or not. Was this the only time she is accusing you? Is she late after work? Is she telling you to leave the house to do outdoor stuff that she has time to talk to someone? If you can say yes to one or more of the points, I would install a GPS tracker into her car or install hidden cameras in your car in the house. That was a quick one. On to the next one. I, 39 male, am thinking of leaving my partner, 47 female, but she just lost her job. Been together 8 years. We're not married, but we own a house together that we bought from her mom before she passed away. And we have 2 kids, 7 female, 4 male. I don't really want to get into our history, but suffice to say our first child was a surprise at the beginning of the relationship, and we've done what we can since then to make it work and be a family. Most of the time, things are just fine. We get along well enough, and we get things done. But she is entirely unenthusiastic about who I am as a partner and as a man, and I want out. Until very recently, I was sleeping in the guest room, ostensibly because I snore and she needs her rest. I have a CPAP machine, so I don't snore anymore, and she has no problem with one or both of the kids joining her almost every night. Our sex life sucks. We have sex maybe once a month or every 6 weeks, and it's always the same. She has little interest in sex or physical affection. She usually recoils when I touch her. She never initiates. When we do have sex, she puts forth almost no effort. We're both crappy about communicating our feelings, but we're both trying to get better. We tried couples counseling in the past and it was okay, but we didn't really get the tools we were looking for to communicate better, and our therapist pretty much retired because of COVID. We are both in individual therapy. She's 8 years older than me and has had way more life experience, including relationships. I just feel like she's had her fun. Now she's settled for someone safe and stable to pay half the mortgage and raise kids with. She doesn't care about me, who I am, just that I'm there to provide resources. That's what it is. I don't feel wanted or desired. I feel settled for. I want to feel wanted, not just needed for what I can provide. I know separating will be really hard on the kids, especially our daughter. She worships her mother, and to be fair, my partner is wholly devoted to the kids. She's a great mom. She makes them feel safe and loved and supported. I don't necessarily like all the lessons she's teaching them, and I'm doing my best to combat the sense of entitlement that she's instilling in them. But overall, she's a wonderful mom, and the kids will be far more upset not being with her half the time than not being with me half the time. The problem right now is that although she's always made a lot more money than me, even though I do all right, she lost her job last month. She earned $120K compared to my $78K, and that's the closest we've ever been to each other income-wise. As dissatisfied as I am with this relationship, I don't want to just leave her until she gets a job. I don't wish her ill and definitely don't want to hurt her or make things harder for her. Besides the fact she doesn't deserve it, it will ultimately harm the kids. We've talked about separation before, and I think it will be amicable. We're both on team kids and would want to minimize the impact on them. And we know that being nice to each other is a big part of that. I guess I just wanted to vent and get some outside perspective. Thanks for letting me do the former, and I would appreciate any of the latter, no matter how harsh. One comment from the gallery before we close out for the day. 1095966 says, since you're unmarried, the rules of splitting up assets may differ than if you were legally married. And since most people seem to have missed the fact that you're not married, realize their advance on financials might not be totally applicable. You might want to seek legal advice regarding this. You might find a mediator to provide more of a soft touch than an attorney. And if you're both able to compromise and come to the table clear-headed, it might work out. Be prepared with detail on how much money you each put into the house, the value of your house at purchase and current value, other assets, savings, investments, 401ks, your income, her historic income, how much it currently costs to run your household, etc. Some of this might be state dependent. Have you thought out how you would like custody to work? Can you each do 50-50? Have you considered having her buy out your share of the house? If she has ties to it, having been her mom's? Can you afford to buy now, or would you want to rent? Can you both stay in the same school district? Who provides medical insurance for the kids? Also, realize that child support may be a thing. Honestly, I see why you might be wary about how to approach a conversation with your partner about ending the relationship, especially since you say you both suck at communication and since she suffers from depression, and she lost her job. I don't really have advice about that side of things other than to say be certain what you're looking for post-split life to look like. The more answers to questions you have before the big talk, the better for everyone. And when you do talk, realize that you maybe have been thinking and planning for longer than her, so let her get herself up to speed.